Rise. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody. It's Wednesday, first Wednesday of September, so roll call.
Mark Holt.
Here.
Mark Frazier.
Here.
Francis Griffin.
Here.
Kelly Schmidt here.
Here. All right, do you have your agenda? Any additions or corrections or additions? No? Motion to accept?
Motion.
Okay. All in favor? Support. Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Your regular minutes from last week. Should have them before you. Any corrections?
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Troy made a motion.
Second.
Bush second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Public comment, one. The short one, okay. All right, sheriff report, Troy.
Last month, we had 187 events in our township, and 59 of them were traffic stops.
What is trouble with subject? What's that mean? Trouble with subject.
Covers a pretty broad range. It could be maybe a neighbor complaining about some kids that are, walking by the house or something at night or something.
It's a catch-all.
Yeah, it's a catch-all.
Okay. See something, Martin.
July ambulance 151, fire 19, 2018 for the year. We're about 100 behind last year right now on calls. And 13 of those ambulance calls were mutual aids, predominantly to Joran and some to LSW. Although they did get their new rig on the road, they finally got the state to approve it.
How do they like it? How do they like it?
LSW did, well, they got terrible problems with that. But
What?
anyway, they're still having problems manning their ambulance, so we're covering it a lot of times for them. And our ambulance that's being rechassised and the box redone is out in Iowa about a week and a half ago. Got out there, so we probably have it back by the end of this month.
But we're okay.
Oh yeah, we've got 3 rigs and only 2 are in service at any given time. So.
Okay. DDA, of course, we didn't meet, but we are still talking to consumers about finishing a couple areas that need, in front of Joe Audio, in front of the barbershop, that need to be tilled and seeded and finished before we can completely pay the bill. But we are talking about maybe having a special DDA meeting next week where we can at least do a partial payment on consumers. And so, in the zoning, I told you last month we haven't got the new zoning files, I haven't heard anything, but that's nothing to report on that. Which brings us to County Commissioner John.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'll quickly go through things. The treasurer retired after 22 years, Tom Dwyer. The committee to pick a new treasurer is probate court judge. Also the clerk and the prosecutor. And they have a system in now out. You can apply to be treasurer if you want. They can pick a treasurer or they don't have to pick a treasurer. If they decide not to pick a treasurer, the deputy treasurer will actually act as treasurer, and the next election would determine who that person would be. That's in the state constitution that way.
Is that bad?
No, I mean, either way, it's so on and so forth. But anyway, we thank Tom for his many years of service, so on and so forth. Audit for the county came back, we got an A+. The audit was excellent in all categories. We were very, very pleased. Our auditing firm got it in late. It was their fault, and I don't mind saying that, and they got chewed out pretty good by us and the state.
Who was the audit firm?
Ryman and Ryman.
Okay.
All right. Well, anyway, they had some reasons, but they weren't good reasons. We'll start in the budget here right now. We should have a draft of our county budget for next year by the first part of October. We have a new financial director. We hired Tracy Bublitz. We have 26 applicants. Basically, we will let for 10 interviews. 2 interviewers that were interviewed, they took jobs, so they didn't interview. Now, the 8 we interviewed, we had some pretty good people. But Tracy has vast experience in auditing governmental entities, and a lot of us have worked with her. And she has an extensive background in that type of accounting. And she's come on board and she's done, we've been just tickled, thrilled.
Good.
She had a week ago, this last weekend, her house burned. So she's had she lost both her daughters.
Oh,
I concur, we've been working with her pretty extensively for our budget, and she knows her stuff. I mean, she's quick with replies and answers, and
Yep.
we haven't stumped her yet.
Yeah. The sheriff has remarked that before too, so that was pretty good. So we hope we can keep her. I will keep in mind that she now is in the category of being paid what probably the finance director of a county our size should be paid. We had for years people who thought we didn't need a financial director from the board of commissioners. I think that's gone away.
okay.
So that's good. Parks and Rec. Our parks have been full all summer.
Good.
You know, over the last 6-7 years, we've done a lot of work at Henderson and Chi-Town. And by the way, Chi-Town Dam's gone. It looks like a trout stream, so go take a look. It's kind of fun. But we got about $7,000 more work to do out there this fall for parking areas and things like that. And it'll be good for winter, then we'll do more in the next spring. Another big discussion is for road commission. Do we keep it 3 members or increase it to 5? And on October 10th, which is our regular board meetings in October, I believe the 10th is a Thursday, it is a Thursday.
Yeah.
We will have that hearing to discuss that, or to discuss pros and cons. And our chairman actually said it pretty well. He says if you're for the 3-man, be there and say it. If you're the 5-man, be there and say it. And of course, as elected, your commissioner, the commissioners, all of us have to go back to our entities and ask, what is your preference? 3-man or 5-man? I'll be back in October to ask that question. I'll let you think about it for a month. A couple of things to keep in mind.
Is the meeting at 5 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Keep a couple of things in mind is one of the main discussions was it's better to have 5 people making decisions on roads than 3 people making decisions on roads.
Why?
Because it would be a better decision.
Why?
Yeah, okay.
More people live on these roads, or?
No, what they're saying,
Just judging by the-
they're just saying that it needs one more vote on the board to approve. I mean, this is the argument that I don't think John's allowing for that. He's just telling you
No,
what
I'm just telling you what's going on.
what the statement is.
Also, keep in mind that I've been going to the road commission meetings twice a month, and they do roads. That's all they do. And they have to make partnerships with townships. You know, they also sometimes work with cities and villages to get the same bid price for blacktop. I mean, they have a lot to do.
What brought up the need to add commissioners to the road commission? I mean, what, is there problems? Is there
No.
something that's?
No, there's any problems. No, there might have been some problems way in the past.
And there may have been.
There may have been, but not in the last several years.
I know my experience with them was they come in here once a year to
We talk about
present, you know,
roads.
what we're gonna do, and then getting the bids back to us and stuff. I don't have a bit of problem with what they're doing. I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Bottom line is there's Mike Constein, Rick Crawford, and John McCauley. The 3 of them seem to work well together. But I
Yes.
don't deal with them, I deal with one person, or 2 people. I deal with the fellow
Which is
that's
way
the
too
supervisor, or what I call the supervisor, he's the.
Brent,
Managing director.
managing director.
Yeah, I deal with John, I deal with him, but I deal with Dave, our
Or
foreman.
foreman.
I deal with the foreman the most, and then I deal with the managing director, with Brent. In all cases, if I call the foreman, he calls me right back. Same with the sheriff. Call the sheriff, he calls me right back, which I appreciate that. You know, we've got people that respond. If I call the director, he calls me right back, and quickly. And the same thing with the sheriff. And you've got, with a small community like this, that's probably pretty important. And so I don't have a complaint from our township perspective with the roads and the way that they're being dealt with. And so from that perspective, and the perspective of these three have worked well together. So, and that's all I have is the last 2 years. I don't have anything else to judge it on. But I'm A-okay with what we've got going. The problem is, if you've got 5 people, if you've got 5 heads, you still got a 3-2 majority. So you haven't gained a thing. You haven't gained, except you're paying 2 more people. You're paying 2 more people. This isn't rocket science, guys. Majority rules. And so you're not gaining anything. In my opinion.
Gain of 1 vote,
Yeah,
going from 2 to 3.
yeah.
There are some townships that have a rockier relationship with the road commission, than ours, and, that have had concerns in the past. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Also too is that if it goes to 5 individuals, do they do districts or do they do at large? That's a big question. It's at large right now. So anyway, I want you to, it'll be in the paper, I'm sure you read about it, so on and so forth. I also went to the Michigan Association of Counties,
Okay.
and very interesting. They had breakout sessions that were very good. I'll finish up real quick with the road commission.
Okay.
This year they're putting out 127,000 tons of gravel, and a normal year is 80 to 83,000. So they have a lot to do to try to finish up this year. For townships, they still have $1.5 million worth of work to do, and they're hustling. I mean, June was just horrible. You couldn't do much.
Oh, yeah.
So, asphalt's up about 20–25% more than it was 2 years ago. So even though we have more road money coming for roads, they completed 24.5 miles of blacktop roads, like Britton Road and all those roads they did. They're chip sealing, and then they'll fog it, and they'll also put stripes on it before the snow flies. So that stuff, I'll just touch on that a little bit. Line 5 that goes under the straits, this is a big item at the Michigan Association of Counties. 2/3 of all the propane that goes to the UP goes through that line under the straits. If you eliminate that line, you'd have thousands more trucks that would have to deliver in the wintertime in the UP. That probably would be a very difficult thing. So anyway, also line 5, created $60.4 million in property taxes for all the pipelines for Enbridge. So if you want to eliminate them, you really nick your pocketbook. Okay, also, census. Had a great discussion of the census. The 2 people running the census for the 9-state region, and this region for us is Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, and Indiana. It's 53 million people, 24 million households. They will have offices. They have 7 offices. And those 7 offices are in, let me get my notes out here, folks. Those 7 offices for Michigan, 2 in Detroit, 1 in Oakland, 1 in Lansing, 1 in Macomb, and 1 in Grand Rapids. To count people for people to work on. Hand goes up. That conference. Well, what about the rest of the state? Well, we have 2 in Detroit, 1 in Oakland, 1 in Lansing, 1 in Macomb, and 1 in Grand Rapids. End of conversation. Okay. Also, they're going to use all types of count this time. And for a lot of people out here, they're going to call you on your internet, and if you don't respond, they're going to count you. In the country, small towns. Oh, I get one. Okay. Then they're focusing. They have focus groups which they will visit up to 7 times to count. And those focus groups, Middle Eastern population, millennials, Spanish-speaking, and other migrant groups, they will go door to door about 7 times to try to count them. And remember, you don't have to mark if you're a U.S. citizen anymore. Did I get my point across? So, it's really interesting. There was a lot of discussion, and it was very good. I could go on and on and on and on about dates and everything, but I won't. I hit the highlights. Also, Secretary of State was there, and everybody, I think, knows that Secretary of State offices have become quite slow because of a variety of reasons, not so much even Secretary of State's fault.
What kind of reasons?
A variety.
Oh, variety.
We put a new system in, got a new enhanced driver's license,
Oh,
takes longer.
okay.
The speed of the new system is not up to speed. Okay, oxymoron there. Also, Secretary of State Benson said, we should have funding, I circled this many times, federal funding for elections. She's all for it for voting.
When?
Well, I mean, she didn't have it.
She wants to throw the control of the voting to the federal government.
Yes.
Eliminate the state.
Okay, and that, of course, that was asked, and, oh no, she said it'd be much more efficient, blah, 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 okay, fine. I mean, but I circled that one.
Because the federal government runs so smoothly.
Yes.
They do what a lot of things well.
Okay, well, anyway,
We're glad you go to those meetings, John. So
actually,
that you can kind of keep us up on what's going on.
well, I try to hit the high points.
What is?
Yeah.
It's good.
The
The
man,
nice thing is that we record this so people, because you do go through it pretty quick, they can rewind it and play it forward and hear it again, so they don't miss anything.
okay, so anyway, those are just some of the highlights, there's much more in depth there, so on and so forth. They did talk about making all county positions nonpartisan,
Meaning, oh, okay.
and that was voted down by the MAC conference.
Oh,
And one person votes are county commissioners, and that was voted down. There's a lot of people who would like to make everything except state level all nonpartisan. Anyway, okay. Do you have any questions? I've just hit a lot of high points.
Very good.
Okay, if you don't, then I'll move on to Woodhull. And, geez, I get to give this for the third time. Yeah, Sheriff, he didn't have to listen.
Okay.
So anyway,
Was this what you said last night?
He's,
I'm so glad I came tonight.
maybe a motion on it.
yeah, last night I had my notes in order, so.
Thank you, John.
There's all my scribbling in my notes. Okay,
Appreciate you
thanks.
coming, appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
down. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Keep up the good work.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Library. Mark.
Get the library report. A couple things of interest is this deal with O'Berry's and the bequest to the library is still going on. They still haven't gotten the answers. The court's that's been dragging for almost 2 years now. I don't understand.
Is the money still there?
No, this is where the problem is. The money that's still owed, which is $130,000 or $150,000, he spent. He was the administrator, so he said, I'm not going to give any to the library, even though it's in the will that way, and he started spending it, so.
Well, keep us up.
Personally, I think that the badges and uniforms should be involved in this, and somebody should go to jail. I think about it, but that's.
That's too bad.
The repairs were done to the Morris Library, and it has solved 98% of the problem. In the
Good.
real hard rain, when it blew in from the east, they did get a little seepage in the front door.
Okay.
They may end up having to put a storm door on that front, but, and other than that, they had, Mike came back a couple times to fix a couple things that weren't perfect, but, they're real happy and it's eliminated the bulk of the water problem in the building, so.
Great.
In turn, the mold will be eliminated. And of course, we know about the city backing away from the Dunedin building for the
Right.
library, so.
Okay. Great. Okay, Troy, you had a meeting, I-69 trade forum?
We did have a meeting, but we did not have a quorum. What did we discuss? I guess our highlights of the meeting were we talked about sending, every year the group sends 2 or 3 representatives to the I-69 fly-in DC where they have people representing all the states I-69 goes through and propose to go through to lobby Congress to finish it all the way to Texas, and,
Oh.
you know, they schmooze and meet with people and have receptions and those sorts of things.
And you're going.
I am not going. I believe Joe Sawyer's going, I think Justin's going, and a couple people from Flint are going, so. Other than that, the only other major thing we talked about, and we talked about it once before, is there's this thing called a SEDS plan, which is, it's this plan you have to have in place to qualify for certain federal grants. And our plan is expired, and last time, let me get this, we got a grant from the state to leverage more grant funds to write a plan to apply for grants. I'm not making this up.
That's the efficiency of our government.
That's the efficiency of our government.
Yeah.
Except the grant to get the grant to get more grant money to write the grant report, that grant doesn't exist anymore. And we'd have to spend like $70,000 to update the thing. And the consensus of the group mostly has been, since one municipality, City of Lapeer, applied for it and got denied for it. And the consensus of the group, and several people in our county have tried to, and nothing ever happened with it. It was a waste of money, not to bother. But of course, the engineering firm that writes them is lobbying hard for it, so. Yes, it was a fine example of our government work.
Okay. So like a couple items anyway, huh?
Yes.
All right, Mark, SEDP.
Justin is currently the president of the State Association of Economic Development. And he was given an award as the most enthusiastic in the state, which kind of fits when you think about Justin.
I agree.
We didn't have a program at the last meeting. We went over goals and objectives that have been set, and they're working through it with that plan that Ryan Henry administers. And, so we spent some time on that, making sure that we're headed in the direction the board wanted.
And he has reached out to us and to the township on a couple of possible smart fence, possibly having a metalworks company come and buy that property. And there's also, he's helped with the bank building that's vacant now in downtown.
Yeah, we did, and I forgot that, we did have a meeting last week with the CEO of Portland Credit Union, and they're pretty interested in coming into Perry and going into that building, so, but it's not a quick thing to happen.
Sure.
I gave him some people in the area with different viewpoints about what the area's about. Troy was one, that I gave him contact information that he could contact them and talk with them about it to see how they felt with a business person. John was here. And, you know, but nice guy, down to earth. He ran the bank in Westphalia for 10 years, so he's pretty aware of the type of area. Small community, you know, agricultural, rural, and so, you know, that's a good thing for us.
Yeah.
But Michigan State has also started expressing interest too, so
That'd be good.
hopefully we could get something in there. So,
Revenue generating. Yeah.
well, it's a help to the business people.
And that too, yeah. Okay, and then go back to the planning commission.
No meeting.
Okay. All right, that's our reports. Financial report now and pay the bills, Troy.
Alrighty, you got your bills list in front of you. Nothing out of the ordinary that I can think of on there. The audit is done. They didn't have the copies ready in time for our meeting tonight. It is done. Everything's normal. Everything on it, so we should have that to look at next month. So, are there any questions on the bills?
Okay, if not, motion to pay the bills.
Motion.
Mark made a motion, second. Butch, okay, roll call vote. Kelly?
Mark Foltz?
Yes?
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Griffin?
Yes.
Julie Schmidt, yes. Ray Ferman, yes.
Okay. Okay, the only correspondence I got was a letter form in the mail from the three commissioners, Shiawassee County Road Commission. They had a pre-meeting to the October 10th meeting Thursday, October 10th. September 24th at the Road Commission, Constein, Crawford, and they want to discuss with the supervisors their input or an alternate, and Troy's actually going to go in my stead since I'm going on a mini vacation for a second. But anyway, I'll submit a letter to them so they have my letter.
Now, do they state here what their feeling is? And they don't.
And so, just to get a take on it, so that was the communication. Anybody else have any correspondence? And I will say that the DDA, we put up those 37 lights, and we're down to 36 now. We had an incident where some person ran over our, well, their car didn't like it, but they ran over our light, and so it's out, and Consumers has ordered us a new replacement light. The poor car lost its whole front left wheel, and then they couldn't get out the door, they go on the other side, so it was a
She
mess.
walked away from it though, right?
We went to
Because
jail.
one of the things when this was taking so long to get it to go through.
Well, the
Was
breakaway,
that it was
the
breakaway.
breakaway worked wonderful.
Yep, that was one of the big deals, was they had to be breakaway
Yeah,
poles.
Airbags did go off, and so.
Yeah, right, you're right, Mark. I mean, that was the holdup for so many years because the road commission was concerned, given the speed of the road, that it'd be breakaway, so that when somebody hit it, obviously it didn't take long. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the pole, I mean, that thing crumpled and
So if anybody drives that.
crumpled into anything and.
Please don't go with a .18, it's just not good. Stay home. Call somebody to come get you.
Yeah, the car was going eastbound and it hit a pole on the north side of the road.
Crossed over, so.
Well, she,
At least they hit the pole and not another car.
And the person that owns the barber shop was concerned that if the pole hadn't been there, they might wipe out a whole business. So let's just be thankful that we had the pole there. Stop the incident. In its tracks, so to speak. Okay,
Jargon for security.
correspondent, let's see, public comment, second chance, unfinished business.
I can
Yes,
comment on public comment here, just a couple things. I know
Sure.
repetitive from last night for a couple of you, but
yes.
many of you know we had a tornado in Shiawassee County.
Oh,
Second
yes.
one, it hit Shiawassee County, hit
New road through?
New Lothrop area Thursday night about 9:20. It was an EF0 tornado, which is equivalent to about 85-mile-an-hour winds. It was estimated that it's possibly upwards to an EF1 from the amount of damage of the trees up.
where did it hit?
On New Lothrop Road, just south of New Lothrop, and was traveling northeast across Easton Road and hit M13 was the last house damaged in Shiawassee County. So it was about 2 miles long, about 100 yards wide. There were 7 houses damaged. Let me read the stats to you here. Five homes had minor damage, 1 home had moderate damage, 1 home had major damage. 2 garages were destroyed, 1 garage major damage. 1 pole barn major damage, 1 barn destroyed. The path 2 miles long, 100 yards wide. No injuries. The good thing is everybody is insured, and at this time there's no unmet need, so we don't anticipate having too much more wrapped into that. I think insurance is going to cover most everything. So, not like our last one. I spent a good portion of Friday morning up there with our emergency manager, Trent Atkins, and you know I've come around and praised Trent for his abilities, and he came to us with a lot of experience, a great reputation as far as emergency manager goes. We were told right from the get-go, you're not going to get Trent Atkins as emergency manager. Well, we did, but unfortunately we're losing him. Yeah. He did turn a resignation into us. He's accepting a job in the private sector for substantially more money, but he's very committed to this county. He's going to help us with the transition into a new emergency manager, which I'm going to propose to the board to accept his resignation and then allow me to search for another one for us. So The garden, been highlighted in the paper and on TV lately. Right now, we've had about 13,000 pounds of vegetables that have come out of there. We've supplied 27 food pantries and food banks around the county. And some of the harvest that's coming up will be flash frozen and used in the jail. We're limited on space, but we'll freeze as much as we can and use it to feed the inmates. You may have also recently seen that I put something out about a leak in the jail roof. It had 5 leaks a couple weeks ago over the weekend. The locker room, back in the jail, in the cells, and unfortunately, the evidence room. And a lot of people took that as maybe another attempt at a jail. Well, it wasn't. I was trying to be transparent because we did have evidence, archive file evidence, that was damaged. It wasn't completely destroyed, but there was damage, and we've taken some measures to protect that, and we've had to rip out the carpet and do some other work in there. So we're expanding our range in Bennington Township at the corner of Morris and Grand River Road. Traditionally, it was only 50 yards, and through the 1033 program, I acquired some bulldozers and bobcats, and we started a renovation of that to extend it to 105 yards because we'd have to pack up all our stuff and go out to the dog and gun club in order to qualify with our rifles. And you may have seen some of the social media hub or whatever, there's some like smear campaign, but we did extend the range to 105 yards, and we allowed the cities and villages to qualify there. The MDOC, Michigan Department of Corrections, the FBI, police academies, the hospital, so we opened it up to the public, and it's a nice range. The local emergency planning commission donated about $10,000 to us. Last year we did major renovations on the inside, so we have a nice classroom. It also acts as a secondary operations center. If something was to happen to our dispatch center, tornado or major catastrophe, they could literally pick up their phones, go down to the range, plug them in, and dispatch from there as if, not missing a beat. So it's nice to have that. The latest that we're doing is we had an opportunity to procure some of the turf from Lions Field. It's about this thick, and we're installing that at the range right now. And the monies to pay that will be paid for out of the 1033, doesn't come out of the budget. And the money from 1033, when I get some of that equipment, I've traded some of it for jobs, I sell it off, after a year it's ours to sell, and I've purchased equipment for the police cars. That's how we equip all our police cars, new cages, new lights, whatever we may need, because that stuff is generally not in our budget. So it's really a save and grace for us to be able to participate in that program. And then the lieutenant of the jail and I have recently negotiated a contract for the telephone vendors in the jail. Previously, if you ever had a loved one in there, if they were calling your house, you'd hear, you're going to pay about $15 for the first 10 minutes. In addition to that, those telephone vendors were making pretty big dollars off the inmates, so 132 usually minimum, that are talking on the phone to their loved ones. And
They don't have any money, do they?
well, the families do though, and they have to deposit money in the accounts in order to speak on the phone.
Okay.
They would collect calls and things like that.
I see.
But there's a new company that wanted to expand into Michigan. They are currently in Hillsdale County. It looks like Saginaw County is going to sign, but I sat down and listened to what they had to say, and it seemed very beneficial to us. We're gonna bring video visitation into the jail through this new company. So now loved ones can actually do video visitation from their home, especially in inclement weather. It will save us moving, 60, 80 prisoners from the back of the jail up front. So there'll be a little bit of remodeling that'll be done by that company in our lobbies to make for anybody who doesn't have that technology at home, they can still come into the lobby and sit down in a booth and video visitation. But what it helps is we won't be letting that population into our jail, which, may help with, contraband or any other security problems that we have. In addition to that, we'll still collect the revenue we collect at the Sheriff's Department, sharing in that commission that they made, and we've secured a grant from that company, which we can make either repairs to the visitation room, or perhaps buy a transport van for the jail or whatever, but that was previously never been done in years, so this is a really great opportunity. And it lowers the rates from the inmates to 20 cents a minute, which before, again, they were $15 for 10 minutes, so It's a savings to the family out there. We're starting to collect some of that revenue that they were, and it's good for the families that have to pay for those visits on lines. Any questions about that?
Okay. New business. Township server quote. Troy?
Okay, in our multi-step process of technology upgrades, my next step in it was looking at migrating all of our, right now we don't have a dedicated server unit. You know, my computer functions as the BSNA server for the treasurer program and the assessing program for the online link. The assessor's computer has the database server for assessing, and the clerk has it for the cemetery management, and we link to each other and such. The final step in our technology upgrades is the assessing computer, but one of the steps along with all this, with all the digitizing of the records and stuff we're doing, we're gonna have just a lot more data. And so BSNA recommended this to us also, that it was just time to have a dedicated database server that, the computers all feed off of. That server then will be set up to automatically back up every night, off-site, so we don't have, we back up now, but if we had a fire between backups, that wouldn't be the best in the world and such. So anyway, I have received this one quote that came in at $1,800 from a computer retailer in Openness Digilink, who we have dealt with in the past. I do think I'm going to explore if I can get a couple other lower ones, but I'd like to approve this one up to that amount, and then if I can find a suitable one for less, that's what I'll do. My thought was, since this unit will host tax assessing, cemetery management, and then it'll also have it'll have our QuickBooks financial data too, that a portion of this we can pay out of we can transfer money from the tax collection fund where we have accumulated interest and penalties over the years. We're allowed to use that on, tax and assessing type things, and this meets that criteria. And then we would also use a portion of it. I'm thinking maybe like half up from the tax fund, a quarter from the cemetery perpetual care fund, because this is storing all the long-term cemetery records, then a quarter we'll just do from the general fund, on that for the accounting records. So,
Will the supervisor's emails be stored?
no, your emails with your people in the restaurant are yours. So,
My spams are on my own problem. My
I'd
spam.
like to approve up to $1,800 for this, and then, like I said, the final step will be the assessing computer, but I don't have that.
So
in
their
front of
quote
me
was
right
how
now.
much roughly?
$1,800.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Butch will make a motion to approve up to $1,800
Yes.
for a computer
Server.
server for the township. And Mark will second that. Roll call vote, Kelly?
And there'll be a budget amendment that'll follow in a few months once we have all this done.
Francis Griffith,
Yes.
Kelly Schmidt, yes. Troy Permley.
Yes.
Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Okay. All right. As some of you know, or maybe we all know, that the sheriff had last year had an agreement with Bennington Township, because there was some road construction on North M52. People were going off the road, passing cars. Very, very disturbing to not only the neighbors, but also the township. And so Ryan was able to help give them additional control people. And Troy and Kelly and I talked about having Ryan talk to us about our areas, north and south 52, and maybe other areas. Ryan?
Well, basically, I'm here to tell you that we have a real problem out there in M52. If you're not aware of it, you haven't driven M52, especially during the commuter hours in the morning, very early in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, and then up until 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then again in the evening commute. And that occurs south of the city of Perry, all the way to our county line, and then north on 52. So I've received countless complaints people passing on the right, and then people behind them narrowly missing their vehicles. They're trying to stop. So lots of close calls, and I myself have worked numerous fatalities between Perry and Owasso. So we already know it's a very dangerous road. Whenever my family drives the road, I take Morris Road. You know, it's a bad area, but unfortunately, I can't dedicate the resources, the cars to be down there during those hours where people are driving like idiots as much as I'd like to. So because of the complaints and because knowing that danger, I went to Bennington Township and did make a proposal to them that they accepted. It was a very successful program, very well received in the public. Many of the township officials there received very positive comments. They were glad to see us out there working and making that initiative. We reported back to the township our stats, how many tickets we wrote, what we wrote the tickets for. And so we would propose that for you if you'd like. What I did is we made a 2-month schedule for the deputies, morning commutes, afternoon commutes, and we basically let them sign up as it fit their schedule because they're already working their normal shifts. So nights could possibly stay over and work if they wanted, or they could do it on their days off and vice versa. And they would sign up, and how many hours you guys would like to do, we can do. To give you an example, we did 125 hours for Bennington Township for $5,000. And all of those hours were spent on M52. They weren't out in the township on the county roads. They were solely restricted to that area. So if that is something that you as a board would like to discuss and are interested in, then I would be happy to provide that. I wish I could do it without coming to you and asking for money, but I simply can't. I don't have the money in my budget or the resources.
How many officers roughly in the pool?
There'd be one car on for each of those shifts.
Yes,
assigned.
but I mean, how many do you have on staff?
Road patrol deputies right now 12.
12, okay.
So if Bennington goes with it again, we wouldn't be sharing the time?
No, and I haven't proposed it back to Bennington this year. That's why I thought, well, they did it, I'd come to you. I may even go to Owasso Township at some point in time because they pick up at Hidley Road and finish the distance up there to Owasso. So it's pretty much all the way through there. And what we're seeing is tailgating, passing on the right, high speeds, just dangerous.
Passing and no passing zones.
Passing and no passing, dangerous driving behaviors that's going to lead to somebody.
And sometimes right now I'm seeing, of course, Hartsville that's out there on 52 now, between here and Lawton Township, and that of course slows everything down and people get irritated and they want to pass 5 cars. And they're, you're passing and the line says you can't pass and they're passing.
It's a common occurrence.
Lost my train of thought. But when you've done these before, Brian, have you been able to get like the state police to kind of help piggyback on or anything with you guys, or?
No, I mean, we do an initiative right out of our department, and the guys were happy to do it, and so it hasn't been, I can't tell you what the state police's resources are day to day, so this was just something that we as the local sheriff's office wanted to provide.
I mean, because one thing I'm thinking about, I mean, really where it probably gets, the worst in our area is once you get past Beard Road and you've got the straightaway to Weberville there and stuff, and obviously if there was even more help on the other side of, if we did this, if there was more help on the other side of the county lines, that would be beneficial too, but.
And that could be something I could cut to Sheriff Wigglesworth about. I'd like to have, one of our secondary road patrols, Craig Lawson, who's so well-known, and he does a super job in the capacity of SRP, secondary road patrol. He can't patrol the end routes. So he's excluded from patrolling that particular areas. But you're right, south of Beard Road, lots of complaints, at least a dozen or so. And people call and say, hey, I drive this in the morning, and people will pass me 80, 90 miles an hour in the morning because they know there's not many patrols down there. So.
And of course, in the middle of the township, of course, Perry breaks it up, some there, but then, yeah. Is the number of hours, is that somewhat flexible? or-
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. We could do it for a month, and see how we do, and bring you some stats, and if you like it, we can continue. Or you can, if you want to say, okay, let's go to 100 hours, or 125 hours, or whatever how many hours you'd like to see us out there. We can work it, 30 days or 60 days. I propose 60 days. That way the guys can sign up at their leisure, and make it a little easier with them, because we are shorthanded and there's vacations in summer and things like that. But it gets us out there, and shows the initiative that, we're out there trying to do it. And like I said, it was very well received from Bennington Township. If you want to speak to the township officials there.
Well,
I was
to
at
some
that
extent-
last meeting that you came in and reported at. And they were pretty
Okay, well,
happy.
I think you and I were both.
Yeah, I don't know that it's,
When I went on the
Oh,
drainage.
for me, yeah, yeah.
I don't know that it's a, long-term, every month for here on out type thing, but right, I mean, like you said, once a few of these people get a passing on the right ticket, they're likely to not do it again, I would think.
You said at that meeting that was one of the biggest
It
amounts
was.
of tickets you wrote.
People do it all the
If
time.
memory serves me correctly, the first month, I think they wrote 40-some passing on the right.
Wow.
So that's just the ones that were caught. So it's just such a frequent
But the
thing.
word gets around.
Oh, the word gets around, yeah. Well, I've personally seen it, driving a slow vehicle down M52, where I watch somebody passing, and I'm thinking to myself, am I about to watch a head-on collision
Yeah,
here? Because there's another car right there.
The way we would allow them to sign up for either morning commute, night commute, they'd never know whether we were out there. And we're not trying to hide.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get people to drive safe. We highlighted this on TV 12 to let them know we were out there, because we just want people, we're not going out there just to write tickets. It's to get people to drive safe, slow down, think about what they're doing. So we, again, would let them know that we're out there, and hopefully they just would assume we're out there all the time and start watching themselves, so.
Just out of curiosity, but how does the ticket revenue get divided up these days?
We get a very small percentage. It goes to the courts,
Right.
a little bit to the library, and things like that, and the county gets a little bit of that share too, so. To get the exact percentages, I'd have to.
I know it's not, years ago
It's not.
it was more, but yeah, I know they've.
Yeah, it's not a huge money maker, but it does contribute a little bit to the county.
Well, Rich, what's your thoughts?
Well, if we have the money to do this, I guess that's the big question. I don't have a problem with it, because it is a problem out there. I've had a friend get a truck towed following his combine home by somebody that was not looking up, was
Wow.
looking down,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
obviously was probably texting.
Well, this is the time to
Well, I think that's true, because the school's starting and all that kind of stuff, not a bad time of year.
2 months,
Yeah, I think 2 months is probably,
Butch?
I don't know if we need to go 2 months or not.
Kelly?
I think for experiment to find out.
Would you be willing to
Well,
come?
the amount of money is based on hours, so,
Based on hours.
we
It's
could.
40 bucks an hour, basically, right?
Basically, yes, exactly. And I'm picking up some of that cost, that's like covering.
Because the guys are on overtime.
I'm providing the car, I'm basically giving it to you at the overtime rate, I'm providing the car with no charge, and really the gas is kind of minimal, so I'm not even including that in
Yeah,
there.
I guess
so.
2 months would be better,
That's what I'm thinking, in a way, he could come back, he'd have time to
for
come back,
125 hours.
maybe 2 months out.
so Troy, the real question.
Do we have the money?
Budget to do it.
Well,
I kind of looked through and
yeah, right, there's not a segment that fits that super
How
well.
many hour blocks are they working?
Usually it's
For?
more. So we want to get out there early, especially on this south end 52, so we may start at like 5 o'clock in the morning, say till 9 or something like that.
That's what I don't get out there at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I told them, 5 o'clock in the morning is some of the busiest time on that
Yeah.
road, you know.
So that's basically 31, 32 shifts. 32 times they'll be out there.
And they're there, they may catch the morning commute and not that evening commute. Some days people might sign up for morning and night, so you're gonna have people out
Okay,
there
okay.
twice that same day. It just, it kind of, we
How
kind
they-
of
how they
try to
sign.
accommodate the deputy in that instance,
Right.
and it helps in the aspect of that you never know when we're out there, so.
Well, I mean, as far as areas to fund it, he, what is the, the mag, that's what it is, that's there, well,
Equipment, do you have any?
yeah, that's gonna be pretty well tapped out with our, you know, we have 5,000 in there for engineering. I don't know that we're intending on any engineering projects.
Yeah, but the water system could come up and bite us.
Yeah, it could. You know, I don't.
Maybe we should just table it this time and kind of get a better,
Yeah, I mean, the other option is, you know, we do have that money, I'm not trying to rob from one pot to the other, but we do have that $2,000 we contribute to Magnet, usually in March of each year. You know, we could, you know, split that or something. I mean, I'm not lobbying for that, but that's in the budget. I mean, that's what I'm just saying.
I kinda hate to take.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I'm just looking for options here. You know, I mean, will we be okay here? Sure.
Well, we could do possibly a lesser amount of that. We do the 2,500 or something, we'll do that for a month, bring the stats back to you, that way you're not trying to
Sure.
find that much of a lump sum of money or something, but that'll get us started. I think right now, you know, it's the summer hours, that's when most of the vehicles are moving, like you said, school's in session. Usually the speeds are higher in the summer, people tend to drive a little slow in the wintertime, so.
Yeah, once we get the first snow and they all end up in the ditch, you know,
You got it.
that slows them down. Right, I mean, I'm thinking the prime period's gonna be now through 1st of November.
Exactly, yeah.
You know,
So we
So,
did like 6 weeks, what would that be roughly?
well, it depends how many hours it is. You know, I mean, if they're, you know, I mean, if, you know,
and of course, if we didn't work the hours, then we would, you know, take money, but if you allocated, you know, say 2,500 for the first month or something, and we just have the people sign up and see how many hours we're out there, and if it ends up being, you know, 1,500, then you only spend 1,500, but we'll get out there as many hours as the deputies, you know, are willing to work on their days off, and at least show a presence out there that right now we're unable to do.
what do you guys think?
Well, I think we should try it, because I do think it's a problem.
I don't disagree with you. Should we try like 2,500 for, and ask, you know,
Just not to exceed 2,500?
well, to start with, and let's see some stats and see if it works at all.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Do we have a type particular, I mean, I assume you probably wouldn't start for a couple of weeks anyway, you gotta sign up and stuff too, right, or?
Yeah,
At least a
we'll
week.
start working, we can start working on the schedule this week, and then we'll post it for the guys, and probably by the first of next week, we should be able to get a couple cars out there,
Okay.
so.
I'll make a motion that we, enter into the proposal with the sheriff for $2,500 of additional road patrol on M52, and then we'll evaluate it at our next month's meeting to see if we wanna do more.
I'll second.
Mark will second that. Okay, and Kelly, when you're ready?
okay, Kelly Schmidt, yes, Trent Harmony?
Yes.
Mark Foltz?
Yes.
Mark Frazier?
Yes.
Francis Graham?
yes.
Okay.
Thank you, I
Thank you,
appreciate it. Yep.
Appreciate it.
We'll be sure to report back at the next meeting, let you know how we did.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I mean, is
You can
there,
email us and let us know.
is this, on these, I mean, are they in warning mode or are they in ticket mode?
Both, I mean,
You know, evaluate the situation.
exactly. Again, it's not just go out and write a ticket, we want people to slow down, drive safely, and if we think, you know, somebody got the message and they're gonna drive, they may get a warning, but normally if they're getting stopped during that, I would say a ticket, but it's not gonna be 100%.
They've had free reign for a long time.
What's that?
They've had
Yes,
free
they-
reign for a long
they
time.
certainly
Well,
have.
it is a busy stretch of road, and it's a stretch of road that frankly doesn't have a lot of police presence. I mean, and as particularly, I mean, where I noticed it really bad is as you go into Ingham County. You know, I mean, it gets, I mean, is there an Ingham County Sheriff's deputy out there occasionally? Sure. They don't, I'm not sure they have any more road patrol than you do, and they have a lot bigger area to cover, and Lot Township is not their priority.
Sunday, you see one there at that one barn. Which side he'll be back to.
Okay, very well. Any more public comments? Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, whatever.
Second? Okay, Troy made a motion and Mark second. All in favor?
And then it's still.
8 or 7:55.
Kind of